now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome our attendees on Zoom. We are about to go live on Facebook too.
Right, I understand. Okay. All right.
Good morning, good morning. We're going to get started in a few moments. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. You can use the chat to say good morning for those that are attending. For those that have access to Facebook, please feel free to share. We are on live. This is Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. We are doing our meetups where we do workshops, technical assistance workshops on Sabata County, Jackson Health, Miami-Dade Public Schools, and a few of us that are coming together to ensure that our businesses know how to secure government contracts during this time of COVID-19. So we want to make sure we give that assistance. Please share, create watch parties so we can get more information to people. We will start in 2 minutes at exactly 10:05. Use this time, please, to share so that we can get more people aware of this information we want to begin. All right, I want to welcome everyone to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Technical Assistance Workshop on securing government contracts. I want to thank you for being here today. We do these workshops at least once a month to make sure that we're bringing the latest information on how our business community can grow and develop. Today we have an amazing a group of individuals who've been providing technical assistance and getting government contracts. And they have a wealth of knowledge on how small business owners can become a registered vendor, go through the process to actually secure contracts, and some best practices about that. So I want to first turn it over to our president, Mr. Eric Knowles, to share words about Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce and welcome everyone today. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I got to unmute myself.
There you go.
I tell you, this new norm is quite something. How's everybody doing this morning? So everybody's muted, so therefore they can't respond. Anyway, Amber, thank you. Junior, Steve, Alonzo, and Jacob, thank you all for being here. Many of you have participated in various Zooms that we've done during this pandemic and even before the pandemic. You've been on different various panels bringing information to the members of the chamber as well as the business community at large in South Florida. So I really want to thank you and those who are joining us. Thank you for joining and learning more about how to do business with our various entities that are here with us today. The Miami-Dade Chamber has been around since 1974, creating opportunities for economic and social transformation in our community. So again, we appreciate you joining us this morning and taking the opportunity to learn more about how to do business with Jackson hospital, how to do business with school board, and we have some members on who will give you some of their experiences as they have had the opportunity to do business with both entities and others here in South Florida. So thank you for joining us. You're on mute.
All right, now I got all right. Thank you, Mr. I should know by now. I mean,
yeah,
exactly.
Doing. We all think we're experts at this, but you know, these little nuances.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you, Mr. Knowles, for welcome at Miami-Dade Chamber. Today we have a very distinguished panel of experts in their field and doing business, and also on the other side with the Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade Public Schools, and Jackson Health, to really give an understanding on how to go through the vendor registration process and the questions that you have. We want to leverage our collective experience to be able to share with everyone. So for those that are listening on Zoom, you have the opportunity to raise your hand. We'll give opportunity for those on Zoom to even ask questions. If you raise your hand, you do that by clicking the participants function on your Zoom panel. It's right where you mute and video, or your mute button, unmute button, and you should see a raise your hand function. And at the point in time when we have questions, you can do that. You can also put questions in the chat. For those that are on Facebook, we'll try and get to those questions. You can put those in the chat. But feel free to make comments in the chat, and as the presenters are speaking, we'll try and get to their questions as soon as possible. So first, I want to give an opportunity for our panelists to introduce themselves, so you know who is on the call with you, and tell them a little bit about who you are, your institution, your role there, and exactly how you help business owners. And then I'm gonna turn it over to our business owners. And with your introduction, just simply state yourself, your business, what services you provide, and why you decided to get into government contracting, because that's a different business model. Not everyone does that, so we'll do that. So let's start off with Ms. Amber Lawhorn from Jackson Health.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share the information that we have. Thank you to the Chamber for this invitation. I'm Amber Lawhorn. I'm the Director of the Small Business Enterprise Program at Jackson Health System. We identify and create opportunities for Miami-Dade County small businesses to do business with Jackson. So that means provide goods, provide services, work with some of our prime vendors, so maybe some of our larger vendors that are performing services for Jackson, to work under them, to assist them in providing those services to Jackson. We provide support by sharing the information on opportunities to do business with Jackson, how to do business, so the different requirements that are in place, the different systems to enroll in, to learn more about these opportunities, and to submit bids. We also assist vendors just navigating their contracts. So after a vendor has a contract, performing those services, making sure that there's no issues with the department. If there are, assisting with, mitigating or moderating those issues with the departments. We make sure that vendors get paid on time or timely. So that's what we do on a daily basis to support the small businesses in Miami-Dade County.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Lawhorn. Ms. Lawhorn's been a partner of the Chamber for many years, and has helped so many businesses, many of our members get contracts, contract compliance, any issues they have, a wealth of resource and knowledge at Jackson Health. So make sure you connect with her after this and her department moving forward. Next, I would like to bring up Junior Anderson with Miami-Dade Public Schools.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. My name is Junior Anderson. I'm the District Director of the Office of Economic Opportunity. And basically what we do, we advocate for the small businesses in a sense. What we do is we certify firms. We also guide them through the process regarding getting registered as a vendor. We actually try and educate them as well through different programs that we have. Trying to talk about how to do bids, understanding the process itself, which is very, very important. And also we do follow up also as well. Right now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, with the difficulties that have been happening with small businesses, we've done all sorts of different ways to try and promote local business. And basically, I do a lot of outreach and a lot of seminars as well. And really, we're just there to advocate, as Amber said, for the small businesses, try to help them go through the process, offer technical assistance as much as we possibly can.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, again, is another Miami-Dade Public Schools, another long-term partner with Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, does an amazing, I think it's 6-week course. Or is it 8-week?
Supplier development program.
Yeah, the supplier development program that teaches a lot about Miami-Dade public school system and how to get bids, procurement, and quite a few things. So make sure you reach out and understand. We're going to learn more from Mr. Anderson, right? Next up will be Jacob Mills with Miami-Dade County.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Like Matthew said, my name is Jacob Mills. I'm with Miami-Dade County Small Business Development. And we are actually a division of the Internal Services Department. Our entire division was created to promote small businesses, similar to what Junior was speaking, and also we partner with Amber and the school board at Jackson. We are responsible for promoting small businesses, carving out additional opportunities. We certify businesses in our 4 programs: construction, goods and services, and architectural and engineering. And I am a technical assistant coordinator. Under my umbrella, what we do is we basically go out, we do a lot of workshops. Once you do get certified with the county, you get a technical assistant coordinator assigned to you that will help you, with general knowledge, if you have any payment or contract issues. Almost similar to a concierge, where we'll kind of hold your hand as much as we can to kind of help you understand the ins and outs of doing business with the public sector. I know a lot of people, I get feedback from my firms, are a little intimidated with the public sector and how different it can be. So we try to do our best to bridgeway. And at our division, any county contracts that have county dollars spent over $100,000 mandates to go to small businesses that are certified with us. So once you get certified, you get additional opportunities, not only to participate on the larger contracts in the county, but you also get isolated contracts that are available to you as a certified firm. So there's a lot of additional benefits that come with that. We have a whole team of probably about 80 employees that review all the contracts, whether it's water and sewer, public works, transit, all the county departments that have county funding come through our office.
Awesome. That is a very powerful and a position to be in, to be able to assist businesses all the way through the process. And you see what Jacob said, he's there. Mr. Mills said he is there with businesses, helping them out. So we're looking for a lot of great information from Miami-Dade County too. These Miami-Dade County, Jackson Health, Miami-Dade Public Schools, these government institutions make up the lion's share of government contracts in Miami-Dade County. And they have people specifically dedicated to assist businesses with understanding every step of the process, from registration to securing contracts, to helping out with contracts. And Ms. Lawhorn, Mr. Mills, and Mr. Anderson are those key people that are part of that process. Also, we wanted to make sure that we have both sides on this panel, not just those from the government, but also small businesses. So today we have 2 smallest business owners who are also members of the chamber who have experience in government contracting. So first up, I want to give the floor to Steve Pierre of Allied Electrical Services. Let them know what you do, what services you provide, how long you've been doing it for, and also why did you decide to get into government contracting as a part of your business model?
Good morning. My name is Steve Pierre. I'm the president and owner of Allied Electrical Services. We've been in business since 2011, and we provide a broad range of services from high voltage, low voltage, residential, commercial, hospitality, anything that really makes sense electrically, we get involved and we can contract it. We've been a vendor for Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Jackson Health System, and Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Jackson Health System, and the Miami-Dade County School Board also. A little bit of all three. You know, we've done work for all three, but the reason we primarily got into it is because the opportunity, mainly the opportunity. We've done prime work for Jackson and Miami-Dade County, and the school board, we've done some more sub work, but the opportunities are there, and it just has to be, excuse me. Yeah, the opportunities are there, and we just been taking advantage of it. The paperwork process is pretty smooth, like the gentleman said, Mr. Junior, Mr. Anderson. People are in place to help us. I've had dealings with Amber personally. How you doing, Amber? And she's been there on a one-on-one, you know, throughout the way. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. No complaints.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. All right. So next up, we have Alonzo Gomez. Alonzo, you want to introduce yourself and your business, Complete Control?
Yes, good morning, everybody. First, I want to say thank you for allowing me to get the floor to speak. The Chamber of Commerce, everybody from Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Miami-Dade County, and Jackson Health, thank you. So my name is Alonzo Gomez. I'm the CEO of Complete Control, LLC. We do building automation controls, energy management systems. We've been in business for almost 3 years now. We specialize in building automation, making buildings and commercial properties more energy efficient. I am a military veteran as well. I'm certified as a service-disabled veteran small business, also a minority business enterprise, which are certifications that I recommend if you are a minority or a veteran, you should try to get. It helps out when you're trying to bid government contracting. Excuse me. I am registered with Miami-Dade County Public Schools and Miami-Dade County as well. I haven't registered yet with Jackson, which I will. What else can I say? Thank you.
You actually have another business too, right?
Yes. So I'm the CEO of another business. We Florida Building Maintenance. We do janitorial and maintenance in commercial properties and residential as well.
Awesome. All right. So as you can see, we have a panel of government officials and small business owners who have experience with government contracting. And now we're going to get into a few questions so that you can get more clarity about what is this all about and what are the steps to actually make it happen. So let's start off. And what is question for everybody? And you can either ditto others, or if you have anything else to add on, please do. But from your perspective, what are the steps business owners should do to prepare to secure government contracts? What are the steps business owners should do to prepare to secure government contracts? We'll start off with Amber.
To prepare, get familiar with the language. For government contracting, solicitation is the first word you should know. So that means that there's an opportunity. The agency is looking to procure a good or a service. So in most cases, they're going to send out a solicitation, a document that outlines everything that they're looking for. And the way that you participate in that opportunity is by responding to that solicitation. You want to maybe just go on and take a quick look at if you're a small business and you're looking to start small with the government, maybe look at a request for quote that an agency has posted online. We have one posted right now. I'm sure the school board has a couple posted. So you want to just take a look at it. If you've never done government contracting and you're just not familiar, take a look at the document so that you start to understand some of the information that you need to know in advance to participate in opportunities down the line. Also, reach out to the procurement department for the agency or the small business unit at the agency. Most government agencies do have some sort of vendor diversity or small business supplier diversity unit within their agency, and we're there to help people understand how to do business with the agencies. So reach out to either the procurement staff or the supplier diversity staff to just say, hey, this is the line of business I'm in, and how do I get involved? I think a lot of businesses, they just try to jump right in. Maybe they see an opportunity and respond and don't have that understanding as a background. It's free to talk to anybody. So I do encourage vendors to do that as well.
Awesome, awesome. Steve, what do you think business owners should do to prepare to secure government contracts?
The biggest obstacle that I faced personally, like just piggyback on some of the things Amber talked about, was more of the back end support and the paperwork. It's a lot of paper. You have to really get familiar with the language inside of the documentation, because it can be intimidating and it can be overwhelming, but there are resources here to help you. People like Amber, it's different people in other diversity departments who are actually here. You can't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, I need help. I mean, help, what does this mean? What is it in this contract that applies to me? Because some things, a lot of these contracts, the language is typical. It's been copied and pasted for years. It's contractual, but it's typical. But if you're not familiar with it, it can be overwhelming. So for me, it's just paperwork and having that back-end support and not being afraid to reach out to whoever it is at the department to help you, basically.
Awesome. Alonzo, you want to take it up too?
I agree with Steve. The same experience. It's paperwork from the beginning when you're starting to register as a vendor, but they will almost literally hold your hand through the whole process. They will help you out from beginning to end to make sure you get certified, you get registered as a vendor, and even after that, there are many people you can reach out to that will help you when you're working on submitting a bid, or even if you earn a contract, submitting the proper paperwork, doing your time cards properly, whether it's prevailing wages or Davis Bacon, they help you through that whole process to make sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted. So.
Awesome. All right, Jacob, you got anything to add on what steps business owners should do to prepare to secure government contracts?
Yeah, I mean, Amber, Steve, Alonzo, they touched on a lot of great points, reaching out to the liaisons in different departments. The only thing I would add would be to research. Everything is public information. So you can research the previously awarded contracts to get a feel for around maybe what the pricing was that was awarded previously. And like Steve said, most of these contracts are just piggybacked off of old contracts. So if you can look into the old contract to see what the winning bids were, to see what some of the language were, what differences there are between this new contract and an old contract, it's not only to help you in knowing what pricing you should bid and what you can do to be profitable, but it also will kind of give you a range to see if this is a contract that you should go for, if this is something you should put the manpower and resources towards to actually attempt to try to win this bid or solicitation. So I think a lot of it is like Steve and Amber were saying, the back work, knowing your capacity, knowing pay schedules, knowing, I may not see a check from this contract for 2-3 months down the line. Do I have the capacity to stay afloat while waiting for payment from these departments? So that's what I would add to it.
That is a very good point, Jacob, about knowing the capacity. And that's a big deal because a lot of businesses get into government contracting thinking it's okay, I got a big contract, I'm good. But sometimes the delays in getting paid can have some serious challenges. So you got to have a business that has a stable revenue flow, probably from other contracts or a reserve before really getting into government contracting, because it can be difficult. And I've seen business owners that have gotten contracts and wasn't able to stay afloat because of a delay. Mr. Knowles, you had a point?
Yeah, and actually that's where I was going with Jacob just said in terms of looking at older contracts. But the one thing, it's important because a lot of people may come into trying to doing a bid and think that they can underbid the other companies, and they basically put themselves out of business because they bid too low. So it's understanding that whole process, what Steve, as well as what everybody is saying, understanding what those numbers mean and going and looking at older contracts so that you're not looking at a contract and you may be bidding $2 million and it really takes $4 million to actually fulfill that contract.
Very true. Very true.
Or 2.3, 2.4, or whatever it may be, but you need to be tight with those numbers.
Exactly. Exactly. June, you got anything to add to that? Well, you got to unmute your mic.
You're muted, Junior.
Everyone has basically touched on everything I would have said. Amber, Steve, Alonzo, Jacob, Mr. Knowles. What I would actually add also is the fact that the pre-bid conference, there are bids. Now you're asking me what that is. Now this is very, very, very important. When a solicitation goes out, for Miami-Dade County Public Schools for $50,000 and above those contracts, is basically, we have what we call a due date when the bid is supposed to be submitted, the deadline. But some people forget, they don't look at what they call the pre-bid conference. Now, the pre-bid conference is before the deadline. So you have an opportunity to go into the procurement department. The department will be there that actually wants the good or service, as well as the procurement professional. And you can ask as much questions as you want in a public setting about if you don't understand a certain section of the bid. So if there's some wording that you don't understand, if you're asking a question relating to the specifications, and there have been times when the department that's asked for a certain specification has made a change, and we've made an amendment to the bid based upon this pre-bid conference. So I would actually say that is one of the most important things. Attend the pre-bid conference, because you can ask as many questions about that bid, because after that window is closed, you can no longer, the cone of silence comes back in. That means you can no longer ask those questions, or you'll have to go through an official process to ask those questions. And it's up to the procurement professional, based upon the policy of the school board, whether they can answer that, because it can't give any unfair advantage to anyone. But I implore people, please look at the pre-bid conference date and time to try and attend it. All right? And now I think they're doing it over Zoom as well.
That's a good point. Good point. We actually just got a question on this topic from Millennium Corp, Miliani Corp. And I think it's more directed toward Jacob, basically saying, hi, I want a contract with Miami-Dade County. Where can I go to get help with certified payroll, LCP tracker, and all the paperwork necessary to be in compliance?
Okay, that's a great question. If you go to our business management workforce system, there are listing of not only events, but different training and workshops that we offer that will walk you through how to set up your LCP tracker, any other questions you may have in terms of the different software system that you may have to input your information. So I can send out an email, or if you just go to miamidade.gov/small business and you click on the Certified Small Business Program, there will be a link that can get you to the BMWS system, which is the Business Management Workforce System. And there's a ton of trainings. If you need something immediately, you can also just call to us, 305-375-311, or you can send me a direct email and I can get you in contact with somebody who can walk you through it if you need immediate assistance. But we do offer trainings pretty, I think like every other week, there's trainings to help you out with those kind of new things that you may not be used to.
Awesome. So one thing that I didn't hear anybody touch on, though, was talking about getting registered as a vendor, which is one of the first steps you got to take to get government contract. So anyone want to just take a stab at what are some of the problems that business owners have with just taking that very first step of registering as a vendor?
Submitting the documentation, sometimes the relevant documentation. For Miami-Dade County Public Schools, sometimes they, we say we want the W-9, right? The tax I receive. We tell them that they need to show that they're registered as a business with the Florida Division of Corporations, which is called SunBiz. They have to be, but basically what that means is they're an active business in the state of Florida, a registered business in the state of Florida. We need that. We need their local business tax receipts, all right? And basically that's some of the things. It's just submitting the documentation. Once the documentation is in place, and we really do go hold people's hands with this too. We go through it. If they don't, we'd say, listen, this is what you need to do. This is not right. This is not signed. And then they'll get through. But basically, it's the documentation. We do a good job in trying to assist people in getting registered.
Amber, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, so at Jackson, the process is actually a little different. You don't become a fully registered vendor until you're about to be issued a purchase order. So that means you've already been awarded a contract and now you're about to get a purchase order issued to you. At that point, you would become a registered vendor for Jackson. But more important for us is our supplier portal registration. So anybody that's interested in doing business with Jackson, that's your first step with us, is registering in our supplier portal, which is an e-procurement system that we have that will alert you of opportunities to do business with Jackson. And also you can go on there anytime and browse those opportunities as well. So that entails going into this system, setting up your profile, let's put in basic information and telling us what type of industry you're in. And then based on that information, you'll get automatic notifications. That's a very simple process, 5 to 10 minutes to put your information in, and it just lives along. But the vendor registration, when that comes, our issues are just as Junior mentioned, the documentation sometimes that is required, signatures, notarizations, making sure that all of that is complete so that your application can be processed.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Matthew?
Steve or Alonzo, you want to jump in? You had anything about any issues you had registering when you first started this process?
Yes, just like Amber just mentioned, when I first, I'm like, what's going on here? How come it wasn't typical compared to Miami-Dade County, because that's what I was accustomed to. But like Amber said, once you go online and put in the correct information, it was 1, 2, 3, they got in touch with you, and it was a breeze from there. But it did catch me by surprise.
Alonzo, I know, Alonzo, you have a little experience with federal contracting, right?
Yes. Federal contracting it's a little bit different, but a lot of the same. It's paperwork intensive, but once you're in, you can take a look at and you can bid pretty much on anything federal. The reason I concentrated a little bit more on federal contracting is because obviously you have that opportunity. And here in South Florida, with federal contracting, you can hit military installations, government buildings, and it gives you a different avenue of revenue. So you're not just working with the city and state, you're working with federal, so you can actually branch out a little bit more. One thing that I think Mr. Anderson might want to touch up on, if you get registered with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, I think it makes registering with Broward and West Palm a little bit easier as well, if I'm not mistaken.
No, not for registration. No, not for vendor registration. With certification, yes, and that's a different ball game. I think we're going to get into that later on, right? So yeah, basically with registration, no. It doesn't make it easier. That's a separate thing altogether. But for the certification, getting certified as a small business and getting certified as a minority women-owned business or whatever, it will make it more easier. You're right, with Broward and Palm Beach, because they're tri-county agreement.
Mm-hmm. Anthony, let me jump in there for a second.
Go ahead.
Junior, and I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly. I know we've had conversations about registering as a lobbyist. So I know with the school board, that is a prerequisite to do certain business. Can you expound on that? And Amber, I'm not sure with the county whether you have to register as a lobbyist to then do business as well. So Junior, can you expound on that?
Right, right. Now, to do business, for instance, to get registered as a vendor, obviously, you apply for then contracts. Hopefully you win a contract. Now, what Mr. Knowles has touched upon is the fact that a lobbyist, if for instance you've got a good or service that you feel you could provide to the school board, then you can pay $250 to try and get in front of a departmental head or departmental one of the staff to speak about, do a presentation on your business. Then what they will do is they will look at that and they will say, okay, this is what makes you special, whatever. And from that, sometimes they may provide a service that they'd never thought about, and they will probably try and issue some kind of a bid or RFQ from that. Or you may have something that's so unique that it could be seen as some kind of sole source or whatever that we could see, that we could probably get some kind of a contract. But yes, the $250 to register as a lobbyist will give you the opportunity to go in front of school board staff and actually present your good or service to them.
Oh, Amber, we had a quick question about how from Facebook, Dave McLeon. How can you verify if your company is registered as active with, if your company's registration is active with Jackson Health?
Okay, we do have a vendor coordinator. I'm going to give the phone number. There's an email address. I don't have it right now, but I'll try to find it while we're on the Zoom today. But the phone number is 305-585-5815. And again, you should be looking to see if your supplier portal registration is active. Again, that's 305-585-5815. That's our vendor coordinator, and they can assist you with that.
Awesome, perfect.
And if
perfect.
I can just go back to Eric's question about the lobbyist registration. So one thing that we haven't talked about just yet is that Jackson is actually a department of Miami-Dade County government. So there's a distinction between Miami-Dade County government and Miami-Dade County Public Schools. We're two totally separate entities with our own registration processes, our own certifications, and that'll hopefully be made a little clearer as we go along as well. But Miami-Dade County does have a lobbyist requirement. It's very similar to the school boards. If you want to go and speak directly to a department, you want to talk to our engineering team and tell them about the great paint that you sell, you will need to become registered as a lobbyist because you were not contacted by Jackson. You want to bring your information to Jackson. You don't want to talk to procurement to see how Jackson buys it. You don't want to talk to the small business person to see how you can get involved. You want to go directly to the department. So to do that, you do have to become registered as a lobbyist with Miami-Dade County. And Miami-Dade County's lobbyist registration is very intensive. There's a $490 fee, and then there's a 4-hour ethics class, and it's in person. So you have to go down to the county, sit in that class in order to fully be recognized as a lobbyist. So I highly encourage you, if you're interested in doing business with the county, but particularly with Jackson, to reach out to your procurement or small business contacts to have the conversation first to make sure that that investment of money and time would be worth it for you versus just getting a better understanding of the process and how to participate in that way.
Exactly. I love it. And I love the fact these are the steps we need to do in order to make sure that we are securing these government contracts. And what they just literally outlined was those basics. So, you got to make sure you get your taxes together. I know sometimes we have issues with getting our taxes. So you want to get the taxes together, register on Sunbiz, get your local business tax receipt up and running so that you can have the fundamental factors you need. And many of these fundamental factors are key to doing business and securing capital too. So you want to make sure you have a separate business account that will help out. a payroll system, and a certified payroll system, if you can do that for government contracts. Those are the key things. EIN number, the basics of business must be in place, and you must have those documentations available so you can present it right when you need to. So make sure you have those. So
before you go, Matt,
we just talked about.
Matt, before you
go ahead, Eric.
Another thing, when you're dealing with the county and when you're dealing with the school board, a lot of people want that $1 million contract. You know, they want the $2 million, the $10 million contract. And reality is, you may not be ready for that $1 million contract. Maybe mentally in your mind you think you're ready, but there may be a small contract for $50,000, a contract for $25,000. But it gets you in the system. It gets you ready and understanding how both the county and the school board do their how they do business. So I would suggest to start out, in particular, if you're just starting out as a business, bid on a small contract, understand how the process works, and then go from there.
Exactly. We got to build capacity. That's one of the biggest issues with many of our business in our community is building that capacity. We want these contracts. We talk about we want these contracts, but there's some steps you have to take to make sure that you get those contracts. And that's what we're here today. And it was mentioned about registering and certification. And there's a difference between those two. Jacob, you want to take the lead on that? What is the difference between a registered vendor and a certified small business enterprise? And why is it important to become certified?
Yes, there is a distinct difference between being a registered vendor and a certified vendor. So it's going to ask for a lot of the same paperwork as in terms of the back office, but for the majority of our programs, the three main things that you need is you have to have a local business tax receipt, okay? The LBT that's issued from Miami-Dade County, and it has to be in place for 1 full year. So if you've had a business that's been open since 2010, but you just bought your LBT today, you wouldn't be available to be certified until a year from today. So it goes from the purchase date, very important. The other requirements are the owners of the company, the net worth cannot exceed 1.5 million. And that's not including property and a lot of different things. We have a certification team that can walk you through the net worth, but we want to make sure that you're indeed a small business before we get you certified. And the last thing that is a requirement is your last 3 years of average gross receipts cannot exceed 5 million. Okay, so those are the 3 requirements to be certified in one of our 4 different categories, which is goods and service, construction, architecture, and engineering. The benefits that come with that, and it is a pretty long process as far as we have to have a certification specialist come out and verify that you are in whatever physical location that you have registered. You can have a home-based business as long as you have a place of business, whether it's a desk, somewhere you do work. So I know a lot of people, obviously the overhead cost of having a physical location can be, it can take you out of business. So we do accept home business, but the important thing is the LBT. Now, once you get certified, you get access to a lot of sheltered contracts. So we have different programs, particularly the MCC 7040, which Eric was touching on. You may not be able to get a lot of the bigger contracts, but for the smaller construction companies that don't want to be subs or don't want to have to deal with, the larger contracts, the MCC 7040 is a perfect system to be in a contract that's sheltered and they don't have the extreme insurance requirements and liability requirements that may be with the larger contracts. You also receive bid preference. So depending on what tier you are, and the tiers are broken down based upon the average gross receipts that your company shows with your taxes, will depend on the bid percentage that you get when bidding on these projects. So for the average person who doesn't really understand what that means, if a certified company comes in with a $100,000 bid and a non-certified company comes in with the same $100,000 bid, they're going to view that certified company's bid as 10% less. to give them an opportunity to make the field even out, to make sure that our smaller businesses get an opportunity to participate in these county contracts. I spoke earlier about the mandate of at least 10% of larger contracts to go to small businesses. This is just a minimum. So the more people we get to participate, the more people we can shelter the contracts for, and we can make things like set-asides, which are contracts that only certain small businesses can participate in. We also have a lot of different programs, whether it's A&E, we have the EDP program, which is Equitable Distribution Program, which is basically a pool that rotates. We also have a lot of things like pre-qualified pools that will only send out contracts to those that have already filled out the paperwork and got pre-qualified for that work. So there's a lot of things that come with being certified, and everything that we speak about today is free. It doesn't cost anything. So if you have questions or concerns or just need to, speak with somebody, our division is there to help you out. But there's a ton of different opportunities that come with being certified, on top of, like Amber was speaking about, Jackson uses our same certification. You have to be registered as a vendor in order to be awarded a contract, but being certified as a small business enterprise just gives you additional opportunities.
Awesome. Alonzo, can you speak to any benefits of being a certified vendor, or have you had what have been your experience with getting certified?
Well, Mr. Mills touched it pretty well. Being a certified vendor gives you the opportunity to bid on projects that are set aside for either small businesses, minority businesses, disadvantaged business enterprises, or veteran-owned businesses. There are several set-asides, and state, federal, and local governments, they all seem to have the same business model where they want to help the small businesses, and the set-asides are tailored specifically for that. So when you're certified, it gives you the opportunity to be able to bid on those and be able to compete with the big players. And it does give you a little bit of an advantage, because there is a set aside. Before it goes out to bid to the general public, you have the opportunity to bid first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Steve, you had any experience being certified and getting the contract?
A lot of experience.
Nice.
Since I've been certified and been a vendor and everything, I've been awarded different contracts with housing. I've been part of that rotation Jacob Mills mentioned. That is a certain pre-qualified pool of contractors that they call. I've been a part of that. I've done stuff for Jackson also. Because I was certified, I was able to get in a maintenance pool whenever there's an issue. I could say, since I've been a vendor and certified, maybe 15 to 20 work orders just from that. The school board, I've done work with them because I was certified as a sub through other primes. So the certification process, it works. It works. The set aside, it works. I would give any advice to anyone looking into it. Just do your homework, but it works.
Matthew, if I may.
Go ahead.
Amber, I'm kind of going to left field a little bit. I know when you all were doing the bond project, you had mentor protege opportunities. Can you explain that to the audience? And are there any other opportunities like that? Junior, you may want to speak on it as well.
Okay, thank you, Eric. I'm sorry. Yes, when we embarked on our $2 billion capital program, hopefully you have seen the huge campus that's erecting right now in Doral for our Jackson West Medical Campus, or if you've been to our main campus recently, you've seen a brand new building. We completely we built an entirely new rehabilitation building. We're doing a lot of additional work at the main campus. We're doing work at all of our facilities, actually, as a part of this program. So you've seen our facilities change in aesthetic over the past 3 or so years. And that was a result of our capital program. As a part of that, what we wanted to do, because I did want to jump in on this conversation about certification and how important it is truly important for your prime opportunities, but there is a plethora of subcontracting opportunities for small businesses. So Jackson, we're a huge organization. We have facilities all throughout Miami-Dade County. There are some contracts that a regular sized business wouldn't be able to manage on their own. So we have to get a supersized prime to come in and manage this service for us. But they don't do all the work. So they subcontract out a lot of it. And as a result, with our capital program, we require 30% of the work that's being done on any of our projects to be subcontracted out to Miami-Dade County SBEs. What does that mean? That means that if I'm a small business and I want to work on that project, I need to have that certification for it to count. If I'm a small business and I'm not certified, it won't count. So the prime has no incentive to use me. The prime has the incentive to use Miami-Dade County certified SBEs as a subcontractor on those projects. So that's really, really, really important, that certification in doing business with Jackson, either at the prime level or in the plethora of opportunities that exist on the subcontracting side. As Eric mentioned, we do have a mentor protege program included in our capital program. So these big, huge multi-global companies, we required them to come in and partner with a small business at the management level of these contracts specific to the capital program. So we have Turner, we have Skanska, we have OHL Ariano, we have WG Yates Construction. They were required to come in and identify a Miami-Dade County certified SBE, partner with them at the management level. So that means that we didn't want them to bring this company in to do work. We didn't want them to bring this company in to do drywall, to paint, to lay tiles. There's work out there for all of those companies, but this is not the relationship we wanted. We wanted a relationship that gave technical expertise to our small business community, so that long after these huge multi-global companies have moved on to other clients, that we have built a cadre of upcoming small businesses with this critical experience. One thing about healthcare, Jackson is a healthcare organization. And what we saw was that in order to work in healthcare, a lot of the times you have to have experience working in healthcare. But without experience, you can't get experience. It was a hamster wheel, and we wanted to eliminate that. So that's why we created this mentor protege program, which has been very successful. We had 7 proteges. We still have 4 working through the process right now. Some of them have moved on and pursued healthcare work as a result of the program and won. So it's been very successful. We were really intent on making sure that this $2 billion of work didn't leave Miami-Dade County without that experience getting left behind. We don't have any more money coming up for capital work. So we don't foresee that happening again in the near future. But we will be analyzing different opportunities as they come up to see if we can include that. But also I want to make sure that I let Jacob speak to what the county has done. I believe 2018, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of 2018, they announced that they were reviving their mentor protege program and have done some work to do that.
Yes, we have revitalized our mentor protege program. Unfortunately, I don't have any additional information on it right now, but I will forward the information to Mr. Knowles or Matthew after the Zoom webinar, so we can spread it with our watchers.
No, that's important. That's something that I talk about all the time when I'm talking to any elected official about how do we scale our smaller business. And it's through, in particular, when you talk about P3s, which are public-private partnerships, that we need to have mentor-protege opportunities. And a question for both you and Junior, when you talk about the $2 billion capital project, how much is left in that, out of that $2 billion, and how many years do you know, Amber, as well as Junior? And I know obviously the school board has a capital project going on. So can both of you answer that how much money is left in how many years?
To be honest with you, Mr. Knowles, I'm not absolutely sure, but I think based upon when I spoke to one of our construction people, I think it's roughly, I think there's over the next few years is about $400 million left. But I have to come back to you to make sure.
But there is money still left in that
Yeah,
project.
there's still money there. Oh yeah, there's still money there. But I think it's around $400 million. But I'll have to get back to you with a more accurate figure. But I think that's what it is approximately. Regarding the mentor protege program, the school board had one under the previous administration in the OEO office. But then we had someone that was quite successful that was offering goods and services with a big company. But under Jennifer Andreo's leadership, we're going to be revamping it. So we expect to do some kind of a launch, again, sometime about September, October. And basically, we're going to be looking at focusing on construction and subcontractors to deal with it as a testing ground, as a pool, first of all. And then we're going to take it from there. But we're going to do a revamp with the mentor protege in roughly about September, October. Going through the processes now of identifying the firms and also identifying the prime vendors also.
Awesome. Amber?
Awesome.
Our capital dollars are fully expended as a part of our $2 billion program. You see work happening, but that work has been contracted for several months, if not over a year. Our efforts started in 2015 in terms of spending the money, and our work will continue for the remainder of this year into 2021. But again, that work has been contracted out. So that doesn't mean that those opportunities are completely closed. The primes, they may still need subcontractors to do some of that work, and we will continue sharing those opportunities as they come.
Awesome. So as you hear what Amber just talked about in terms of that mentor protege program, like there is a movement to build small businesses up. And Jackson Health, Miami-Dade County, Miami-Dade Public Schools all have programs dedicated to doing that. So make sure when you're speaking to them, ask about those mentor protege programs so that you can get more information about those opportunities. I do see some questions in the chat, and I know that I have a few questions I want to make sure we get to. I know it's coming on 11 o'clock, so we may give another 15, 20 minutes conversation. Panelists, let me know if you may have to run. But really quickly, does anyone have an idea what agencies provide reciprocal certifications? Junior,
for the school board, we do what we call with the Broward County and the Palm Beach, where it makes it a lot easier to get certified. So basically, if you're certified with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, you can go to the Palm Beach and Broward and get certified a lot more easier. So there's like a tri-county agreement there relating to the school board with Broward and Palm Beach.
Okay. All right. So what go to a question. What are some major challenges business owners have getting their first contracts? And what are some of the things you've done to actually overcome that? I want to give that to our business owners who want to go first. Some of those first initial challenges to securing and what you did to get over them.
I guess I'll go first. One of my biggest challenges, one of our biggest challenges was when just going through the paperwork for the actual bid, making sure that you're looking at every single line item, because that can mean the difference between winning or losing a bid, and also between earning money and not earning money in the bid. So you have to detail the bids. You have to look at what the government expects from you and make sure you as a company are able to deliver on time and deliver all the paperwork after the project is complete.
What about you, Steve?
My experience early on, the things I've heard from other business owners over the years, it's more prompt payment and capital. And I know out of all three government entities on this call right now, Jackson pays the quickest from my experience. All right, Amber. But it's prompt payment because, you know, Jackson, from my experience, has been 5 to 10 days tops. Then Miami-Dade County and the school board, because I haven't been a prime yet, it's unfair for me to judge them. But, you know, Jackson pays the quickest. But aside of payment, it's been, for some companies, capital, cash flow, something Eric touched on earlier on, and you just have to be ready. You know, some companies can't put $20,000, $30,000 and wait to get paid 60 days down the line. That's just impossible for a small business. But it's just capital. Yeah, just to touch base is capital, opportunity. And I know the chamber put something out, I think a few months ago, different revenues, different agencies like Bay South Foundation where you can get capital. I remember I tuned in, but that's one of the major issues for small business.
If I may, Matthew, also, I think we forget about relationships. Building relationships is very important. I mean, based on a relationship isn't going to get you the contract, but being in the room and letting the Ambers and the Juniors of the world and Miss Andreu and Michelle Levy and those folks who are managing these projects, going to the meetings, going to these open forums that the entities have. And as I say that, going to the meetings, and one of the things that's been on my mind to ask to talk about, how are we maneuvering during COVID-19? Okay, so how do businesses engage with you, Amber? How do businesses engage with you, Junior, as well as Jacob, during COVID-19?
So I'd like to touch on two things. I want to go to what Steve said as a challenge. I had some other information on, you know, what are the challenges, but in terms of payment, submitting a proper invoice. A lot of small businesses don't have a full understanding of what is required in the invoice. So you submit an invoice, it's not proper, it doesn't get processed. That also adds to the time it takes to get payment. And a lot of that is usually outlined, for us it's outlined in our vendor registration, what we're looking for in an invoice. We actually even ask you to send in a copy of a blank invoice so we can take a look at it. But it's usually outlined in the contract, on the purchase order, but a vendor will just send in their invoices. They would send it to somebody else and it just won't go through our process. So that's a huge part of making sure that you submit a proper document in order to help the invoice payment process move much more smoothly. In terms of how to be engaged with us, I know at Jackson, what we're doing on a weekly basis is we're sending out information, we're sending out disaster recovery, funding, financial resources. We are sending out any workshops that we're doing, any of those type of activities. I know that we're right now working with Junior. I'll let him talk about it, but some of the opportunities for small businesses to engage with us, you know, we've completely had to revise our model on how we interact with people and how you can interact with departments. That's also a challenge for the small business community. So the agencies we're trying to adapt. It's taking some time, but we're trying to adapt to make sure that we bring those opportunities for people to remain engaged. But things like this, partnering with our business organizations like the Chamber out in the community to make sure that your memberships and our other organizations that we're a part of, that their memberships have access to us. We're doing as much as we can to make that a continuous process right now.
Awesome. Good point. Oh, go ahead, Junior.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something. My boss is on the line as well, Jennifer Andre, the head of OEO. I want to touch on what you mentioned before, Mr. Knowles, regarding how much of the obligation bond is left. She said it's about 30% of the obligation bond is still left. So that could equate to the amount of money that we had stated before. Regarding prompt payment, I'm going to touch on something as well. Being certified, another benefit of being certified is that if you're certified as a small business, you will get paid within 14 days. And that's one of the things as well. If you're certified, that's one of the benefits of it. So I just wanted to touch on that because Steve was talking about payments as well. I want you to touch on that also.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
And
Junior.
also, we've been engaging, doing a lot of outreach events. We've been also going out, offering technical assistance through our certification team, through our social media. We've given out information, actually advertising, promoting whatever the chamber's been doing and other organizations. We try to promote all our opportunities that's going on. We attend almost everything that's out there, almost everything. So, and we also had something in regarding promoting small businesses, which was yard signs, putting yards, signs regarding promoting your small businesses in people's yards and stuff, and businesses' yards and stuff like that. So we've been doing all sorts of different things, and we're trying to be as innovative and creative as possible in trying to help small businesses. And basically that's it. We've just been interacting, but it's tough because when I interact with a lot of the businesses, they keep telling me, Junior, it's really hard, right now to keep up with paying employees, dealing with paying for their location where they reside, that they do their business. So, we try to encourage as well as point them to the different resources that's out there. And I've got to say, Mr. Knowles, that your chamber does a great job. You and Matthew have done a great job regarding your members meetup. And I'm not promoting you, but I'm just going to have to say that it's
we appreciate
very,
promote, brother.
No, I'm not. I'm just being honest. Your members meetup that you do twice a week has been excellent, and it gives information on a weekly basis about what's going on and what you can tap into. And you ask the hard questions as well. So that's one of the things. But yes, the Office of Economic Opportunity under Jennifer Andrea's leadership has really tried to do as much as they can. And like I said, being as innovative and creative in trying to get the message out there as much as we can.
There was another question. Is it to the small business's best interest to be certified first before registered as a vendor when pursuing?
No. You have to be registered as a vendor first before you can even be certified. So you can't go to the certification office, or the OEO office, and say, I want to get certified. You have to get registered as a vendor first, and we will tell you what you need to do and refer you over to the procurement department to get vendor registered. And then once you've got that vendor registration number, you can then come over to get to the certification office, which is the OEO office. That's manned by the district director. There is Tammy Reed and Eric Bryant, George Wright of the certification team, and they'll be glad to help you. They do a lot of technical assistance related to that.
Just real quick to add on to what Junior said, just so everybody knows, the certification with the school board and the certification with Miami-Dade County are two different certifications. To register as a vendor with the county, that's a very quick process. I definitely recommend, like Junior said, to do that first. To get certified as an SBE, which Jackson uses, it's a longer process. So you can do both, but I definitely suggest to register as a vendor first so that you're available to do business with the county. And while you're waiting to get certified as a small business enterprise, you can still have opportunities sent your way. And I wanted to touch really briefly on prompt payment, just to clarify. Junior had a good point. Yes, you are, with the prompt payment ordinance, as a certified small business with the county, you are entitled to be paid within 14 days. But the terms are, one, you have to know when the department accepts your invoice. Okay, so the clock starts once it's accepted. It's an accepted invoice from the department. And like Amber said, each department has different requirements for invoicing. So you need to know exactly what you need to be submitting so that clock can start. Also, if you're not in a direct contract with the department, so that means if you're in the MCC 7040 program and you have a direct contract with the department, then the 14-day, the prompt pay ordinance will actually correlate with you. But if you're not in a direct contract with the department and it's not county funding, then the 14-day prompt payment doesn't apply. A lot of people kind of get mixed up and the terminology is a little funny. But if you're a subcontractor under a big prime, I think Steve was talking on it, it goes off of when the prime gets paid. So Prime has to pay you within 2 days after receiving payment. But as you know, in construction, pay requisitions get delayed, things get delayed. So they're touching on the capacity, and sometimes you do have to wait a little bit longer if you are a subcontractor under a larger contract. But the smaller contracts, you are entitled to get paid within 14 days, as long as, like I said, you're in a direct contract with the department.
And if I could just go back to the question, and that was a really good question, I think, to really point out the distinctions between the agencies. At Jackson, it's a little bit different. I want to touch on what Jacob said about the SBE certification process. In the past, it actually took 35 to 40 days. But now that we're in this environment where people are working remotely and coming into the office some days, that process has been extended. And in terms of SBE certification for Miami-Dade County, if you want to participate as a small business on a solicitation, so that's either as a prime or as a sub, at the time that the solicitation goes in, you have to be registered as an SBE. So if you're in the process of SBE, you send in your application, but you don't have that certification, when that solicitation closes, you won't be able to count towards that measure. So in our case at Jackson, you can, again, it's a few minutes to sign up on our supplier portal. You get notified of all the opportunities. You should have long been submitted an application for certification. So if you leave this conversation today, please let the first thing you do for the county, for Miami-Dade County, let the first thing you do be submitting that application for certification as an SBE.
Hey, Matthew.
Thank you.
Before we, what time is it?
Yeah, it's 11:15, so we're about to wrap up in the next 10 minutes at the latest.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up, I just want to switch the track a little bit. I know we got several people on both the Zoom as well as Facebook, and I know a lot of businesses are struggling right now. So I just want to talk about the opportunities that are out there for financial support for these businesses through Tools for Change, as well as I always get them at Partners for Self-Employment, PSE. There's a $25 million, up to $25 million grant that is available through PSE. Through the Beacon Council, there's a loan program up to
$25,000 grant. You say $25 million grant. Now $25,000 forgivable loan.
Okay, 25,000. My bad. $25,000. The Beacon Council has a program, a loan program up to $30,000, and through Career Source South Florida, through also Tools for Change, through the Greater Miami Chamber, PSE, there's a $10,000 grant, but it is a reimbursable grant for equipment you may have bought. During these times, you may have had to have your employees work from home, so they may not have had a computer at home. So if you went out and bought a computer, that $10,000 will be reimbursable. So just wanted to, again, highlight those. Obviously, the Chamber has a microloan program in which we loan up to $25,000. As Jacob or Steve, I'm not sure, Steve mentioned, the Bayside Foundation has a Black business loan up to $150,000. So there are vehicles out there to help you during these hard times.
Awesome. So as we wrap up, let's get some closing thoughts. Just to talk about, for example, what are some just general best practices that businesses should have from technical assistance side, government side, and the business side in regards to securing the contracts? Anything we haven't covered? Anything? What are the best practices that businesses should do? New businesses, established businesses, to continue to get and secure government contracting, especially during this time of COVID-19. We'll start off with Amber, and then everyone just roll through with those thoughts, some final thoughts.
Okay. I encourage everyone to be proactive and participate in the process. We talked a lot about being intimidated with documentation, those types of things, but do reach out. You have advocates internally to help you figure all of this information out, to make it less intimidating so that you do participate. Because that's also a challenge for us as agencies. We identify opportunities for small businesses and sometimes they don't participate. So then those opportunities are lost and they end up not coming back around. Be patient. Patience is a virtue when dealing with the government. Government moves slowly by nature. Don't get frustrated and walk away because something didn't happen in a couple of weeks. I'll tell you, the most successful businesses I've had have been the most persistent and the most patient. They have, some people, it's taken 2 years before they got a contract, and now they're up to 6-figure, 7-figure contracts. So don't give up on the government, just be patient. But those are my best practices.
That was excellent. That was excellent, Amber. Thank you. Junior, want to go? Unmute your mic.
Keep on muting myself. Basically, I just ditto everything that Amber has said. And one of the things, though, like I said, that we've all touched on is the market research. You've got to do your research all the time. Keep looking. If you're applying for a bid with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, for instance, a solicitation, look at the old bids, look at the previous contract, look at the previous winning price. Go also to Palm Beach contracts, look at Broward County's contract for the same good or service. Do your research, you know. Like you say, be persistent. One of the things that made me very happy over the COVID-19 period is that a business emailed me and stated that they won a contract. And that was, she said what she learned on the supply development program that we host is that how to do the pricing, the market research. And she won a contract with the school board. So that made my day. So what I'm saying to you, it takes time. That was over a year ago. That person was in the program, but it took time. So you just got to keep at it and be self-motivated, and you'll get there once you keep doing the right things.
Awesome. Jacob?
Yes, Amber and Junior just made a ton of great points. A lot of the certified firms that I have direct contact with, I stress and reiterate, treat the county and government contracts as another client. Don't treat it as your sole source of income. Treat it like another client so that you're not dependent on it. Like Amber was saying, you have to be patient. Also know the tools that you have available to you. There's a lot of free things that we offer that a lot of people just don't take advantage of. So if you're not familiar, if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask those questions. Reach out to the liaisons and the different departments. The communication, like you touched on, Mr. Knowles, is very important. So you need to know who in the procurement department you can speak with. Be very proactive in searching for upcoming projects. I know the county has a list of projects that are being reviewed. We also advertise and send out a lot of different information, whether it be workshops or contract opportunities with our partners and municipalities. Just constantly doing the work. Make sure you're checking resources like the Daily Business Review and seeing the different cities. Each city has their own contracts, the public schools of the world, the Jacksons, Miami-Dade County, just knowing the different resources and numerous places that you can go to find additional contracting opportunities.
Awesome. Perfect. Steve?
Yes. Everyone made some valid points. I would hate to piggyback what everyone is saying, but it is true because I was just more following up because some department heads, if you don't follow up, you could be just another vendor, just lost in the shuffle. But by following up and just being persistent, like, well, man, it was a contractor that comes by here, calls me once a month or send an email. It's just staying on somebody's mind. When something comes out with RPQs coming out, like, hey, pay attention to this RPQ, it might be beneficial for you. You know, little things like that. Just to piggyback on some of the things some of the other panelists have said, and just doing that and staying persistent. can go a long way.
Very much so. Alonzo.
I just want to share a personal story. The first government contract that we received was a federal contract, and we bid that contract, I'm going to say in September. We didn't hear anything back from the federal government. In May, we heard that the contract was awarded. Then it came out that we won the contract. The contract was set to start in June. So it was a very short window of notification. But we actually didn't start working on the contract until August or September. And it, like Amber said, the government moves slowly but surely. If you win the contract, you're good to go. Just make sure your paperwork is good to go. Another thing that I wanted to touch on, we're talking about, okay, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get paid. There's delays in payment and all that. What I've seen and this is certain people's business practices, I've seen it in several different companies and it works pretty well. When you're dealing with the public sector, it's good to, like what I think Steve said it, to have different revenue streams. But also, if you want to carry a line of credit and you incorporate that interest that you're going to be paying on that money that you're taking out in your bid, you're really not, you're working with other people's money. In other words, you're not coming out of your reserves, but you have that reserve with a line of credit to be able to wait till the payments come in.
Very smart move. Very, very smart move. As you hear, it is very possible to win, secure, and thrive in government contracting. But there's some basic steps, and that's one of the challenges that many business owners have, is taking those steps. Step 1, 2, 3, and filling out the paperwork. But the thing is, as you heard over and over again, there are people that can help you. We have 2 business owners on the line that have benefited from that help, that have asked those questions, that stayed in people's faces. And that is the key to success when it comes to government contracting, is doing those things. So really quickly, everyone run down. I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody here. But really quickly, how can people get in touch with you? Do you have any services, programs that you want to make sure people know about before we close out, and how do they get that information? So I'll start with Junior, and then we'll go from there. Now, unmute your mic.
One of the questions, if you could put your
mute myself. Can everyone mute myself?
Yeah.
My email address is jcanderson@dadeschools.net. I would suggest that you can call. I will forward you to the relevant departments. We've also got an email that's oeo@dadeschools.net. I'll be there all the time to help. We've got also the certification team. We have our technical Tuesdays. That's every Tuesday between 10 and 12. So those are things that you could do. We've got different programs that you can try and get involved. You're interested in getting registered with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, you can get in contact with our certification team. But if you want, just email me and I'll refer you to whoever you need to get to.
Junior, how are the technical Tuesdays conducted now?
What it is that we go through Zoom, so basically we have our certification team and they will go through whatever you need to answer any questions and go through anything that you need to go through. Once a month, we have the SBA. I think normally it's the first Tuesday of the month, but this time it's the second Tuesday. Next week, we have the SBA that we're going to be talking about the next steps regarding the payroll protection program, regarding loan forgiveness and getting prepared for that. For that, we've got a CPA that will be also there as well, because sometimes there are questions that the people from the SBA can't answer, really in-depth financial questions. So we're going to be doing that. But once a month, we have the SBA there to talk about certain updates regarding SBA programs, etc.
All right, thank you. So for the sake of time, quickly, how do people contact you, your office, and any programs or services that you offer that you want to make sure people, or events coming up that you want to make sure people are aware of? Jacob?
Yes, you can contact me at jacob.mills@miamidade.gov. My office number is 305-375-3155. We have on July 15th at 10 a.m. a workshop that will actually walk you through vendor registration and also the SBE certification. All of our outreach workshops and everything that we have going on in the county is actually on our page. So just go to miamidade.gov/small business. And if you get to the business management workforce system, they actually have a pretty easy interface that will show you all of our different outreach programs, workshops, and seminars that we have coming up.
Awesome. Thank you. Amber?
I could be reached at amber.lawhorn@jhsmiami.org. That's the best way to get in contact with me. I put it in the chat as well. On the 23rd, we have an outreach event with the school board, and that'll be via Zoom. Information on that will be coming out shortly. Please email me if you want to receive our weekly newsletter, because there's a lot of information in that, how to do business with Jackson, opportunities that we have, but also, again, disaster and financial assistance resources. And then anything that we have, any workshops or anything that we're participating in with partner organizations, the outreach events that we're going to be organizing for ourselves, that will also be in the newsletter as well.
Can I say one thing? Can I add one thing? Regarding the event that we're going to be doing with Amber, Jackson, and Miami-Dade County Public Schools, I advise people to please register for that. We're going to be publicizing the flyers this week because you're going to see a lot of the opportunities, find out about a lot of opportunities in one place for two large organizations. So that's going to be July 23rd at 10 a.m. Also, I just want to say very quickly that one of the benefits of being certified as well is regards to, we have what we call a weekly digest. When you're certified, you'll find out about contracting opportunities in that weekly digest publication. So that's another thing as well regarding the benefits of being certified.
All right, and as Chamber, we are huge advocates of our businesses, and we have 2 member businesses on board right now. I want to make sure you are very aware of the services they provide, so you can take full advantage of them, contact them, partner with them, find out what they have. So the first step, I want Alonzo, tell people about your business, what you do, and how they can take advantage of what services you provide on both businesses.
All right. Again, I am Alonzo Gomez. I'm the owner of Complete Control, LLC. We do building automation, energy management systems in South Florida. We also do variable frequency drives, maintenance, installation service. The other business is Florida Building Maintenance. That's a relatively new business, but we do janitorial maintenance in commercial and residential properties. We are available in South Florida, all the way down to the Keys, all the way up to, I'll say, Vero Beach. I want to thank the whole panel for participating. I think this was a great meeting, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to ask some questions as well and give my input.
Steve?
Yes, my name is Steve Pierre. I'm the president and owner of Allied Electrical Services. We provide residential, commercial, and industrial work, and we do have a fleet of service vehicles. So if anyone has any problems, we can be there within 3 to 4 hours. One thing I wanted to give the chamber a shout out. I received 2 customers from the chamber this week. I asked them how did they find me. You want to just speak to customers, just see if the marketing or tactics are working. And they said they found me through the chamber, through Rock Nation, believe it or not. But it was tied to something the chamber had with it, promoting small business in Miami-Dade County. So I was surprised. I didn't know, but just a shout out to you guys. I did, get something from you guys from the private sector. And I wanted to thank the panelists and thank you guys again for putting this together and having me be a part of it.
Also, much respect. And I just want to, again, thank everybody. We are the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to have our president basically close us out with some words. But before he does that, I want to make sure that you know of a few opportunities that we do as a chamber. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly and let you know that, first of all, with the chamber, we have a technical assistance program. That's one of my specialties as a chamber, is provide that one-on-one assistance with you in regards to business planning, certifications. We want to be there to help you get your business together, get your finances together, get your basic certifications together, so you can take full advantage of government contracts. Also, we still have a microloan program. We actually, due to COVID-19, we dropped the interest rate. We cut it in half. So please, if you are looking for any access to capital, we're part of a few programs that are providing capital to business owners during this time of COVID-19. Our program is irrespective of COVID. This is something that we do and we have been doing for a number of years. So make sure you take full advantage. And also, there's also the, all right, I don't know, my computer just went crazy. All right. But as our President Eric Knowles mentioned, there is programs with Partners for Self-Employment and also Tools for Change, where they have a forgivable loan program. So we are here. We do these. Make sure you sign up to our newsletter. Check our website. This will be recorded along with all our other recordings that we have on our website. Just go to m-dcc.org or Google us, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, and go to m-dcc.org to find this recording, previous recordings, and get updated information about the chamber. So, Mr. Knowles, could you close us out?
Well, I just want to thank our panelists, Amber, Steve, Junior, Jacob, and Alonzo, for joining us and providing the information that you have. Again, during this pandemic, we were trying to put out information. We're here every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. The Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce has a Zoom providing information so that members can connect and all on Tuesdays and Fridays. But also, again, providing information. If you want to get information about resources, go to bizhelp.miami. That's through the Beacon Council. So bizhelp.miami for information on securing funding and technical assistance to getting funding. Also know, for those of you who may not know, that the PPP was extended through the end of August, as well as the EIDL was opened up again. So there is money out there. Again, it's about having the back of your house together, and that's what a lot of this conversation was about today, and how to move your business forward. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, take care, everyone. Thank you for the panelists: Jackson Health, Miami-Dade Public Schools, Miami-Dade County, Allied Services, Complete Control, for making this experience for all of our business owners. Everyone have a great day. Take care.
Have a good one, guys.